What is going on? Tomorrow is officially Strongman's first week as a professional streamer YouTuber. Think he'll succeed? I don't know. I mean, the thing is about YouTube, man, it is a lot of it is luck, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, here, let me put this up so I'll comment on this. All right. Yeah. Chris is good at YouTube. I mean, I don't see why he isn't going to grow his channel. I mean, it's like anything, dude. Subject, whatever you cover, people have to like you. It is what it is, you know? But I have this belief that basically the era of people just firing up a YouTube channel and getting big, I don't really think it's possible anymore. Okay, that's just my belief about the whole YouTube ecosystem. I think it's only going to get worse from here. As AI slop comes in and becomes more and more of a thing, you get more and more buried in the algorithm. That's not to say I don't think that somebody can't get really big on YouTube, but let's look at it realistically for a hot second. I want to see how many subs Chris has. Strong man personal finance. Okay. Let's look. He's got about 16,000 subs. So, I mean, look at it like this. Those 16,000 subs, that's 5 years of work. That's 5 years of him putting out videos, and he's got 16,200. I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody's sub count because I've been doing this for 5 years and I have like 1,000 subs. Okay. The problem is the landscape is changed. You know, even Echoes from above, he's doing pretty well, but I think he only had, well, I shouldn't say only had, but what did he have? Echoes from above he's got 27,000, right? Echoes has 27,000 subs. Personally, I think Echoes actually has the easier genre. Again, no judgment, but Echoes does a lot of commenting on things that are in the news. So he does the perfect thing for the algorithm. He talks about what's popular. He's good at writing titles. He's good at doing thumbnails. And to be perfectly honest with you, Echoes is pretty good at what he does. I mean, I know him and Chris were fighting for a while. It is what it is, man. I don't have any ill will towards Echoes, but I am commenting that he is, in my opinion, in an easier genre to generate views. And you're looking at Echoes has been on there for 4 or 5 years now, and he has 27,000 subs. Now go back to 2020, 2021. I watched Everything Money's channel like explode from 13,000 subs to like over 100,000, and it happened in like a 4-month period. Can't prove it, but personally, I think they paid somebody to boost their videos in the algorithms because Paul's a little Nepo baby bitch. But I mean, I can't prove that. That's just an opinion I have. And it's really just speculation anyways. I haven't put that much thought in it. I hope everything works out for Chris. I'm still friends with Chris, even though we haven't done any collabs, but that's more me not really wanting to be on camera than anything. And it's kind of me getting burnt out with the YouTube financing. It's just, no matter what you say on here, no matter what you do, if you explain to people that a share in a business has a finite value, they don't want to listen to you because they want their opinion repeated back to them, or they want you to just go, hey, buy this stock and you will 20 trillion X over the next 46 seconds. You know, so, I mean, good. I'm glad. I'll probably text Chris. I haven't talked to him in like 3 weeks or so. So I'll probably just hit him up. But yeah, I hope everything works out. But I just think the YouTube landscape has changed so much in the past 2 years, 3 years, where you have the powers that be cracking down on everything, and the powers that be behind everything, they don't want normal people just giving their opinions. They really don't. They don't, the powers that be weren't paying attention to YouTube, and then Rogan came out of nowhere. And let me piggyback on that too. I don't think Rogan would be nearly as big as he is if it was. I don't think Rogan could get to the level Rogan's at today. I think Rogan, because everybody, this is the flagship that everybody judges everything by, is Joe Rogan. Oh, my podcast is Graham Stephan. My podcast is going to be Joe Rogan meets finance. It's like, dude, Joe Rogan's already Joe Rogan. Rogan came up in a time where this entire medium was new. So you got this dude out in LA. He's a pretty cool guy. He's got celebrity friends. So he starts bringing on his celebrity friends. And these people are not your traditional celebrities. His show isn't this traditional View or whatever you would see on daytime TV. It's a comedian getting high and talking about aliens with his friends. He's questioning everything, like he's talking about the Kennedy assassination, he's talking about aliens, he's talking about whatever, and it was a great time. But even look at Rogan's podcast now. Matt Damon and Ben, like this past week or two on Rogan's podcast has been nothing but celebrities, actors. Now, I listened to the Bradley Cooper Rogan podcast, and I liked Bradley Cooper. He seemed like a cool guy. You know, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were on there recently. I don't agree with a lot of Matt Damon's outspoken politics, but I don't think he's a guy I would hate if I met him in real life. I actually think Ben Affleck is a guy I would fucking enjoy hanging out with, to be honest with you. But you see how the landscape's changing. Like Theo Vaughn, he had Ben Affleck on. So this is turning into, so even Rogan's podcast is changing. The whole landscape's changing. Rogan's podcast has become an institution. And again, if he started his podcast today, I don't think it would be anything remotely close to what it is today. So, that's my opinion on making it on YouTube. And Chris has other skills. Chris is an accountant. So, like, if we go back to it, again, they ask young kids what they want to be, and most of them want to be a YouTuber. But let me ask a question. Most of the time, we only see the success. We don't see the failures. So, we make inferences. Again, somebody will go, my podcast is going to be Joe Rogan meets whatever. Okay, but you're not Joe Rogan. So why are you saying it's going to be Joe Rogan meets this? I know why you're doing it, but again, you're aping a unique dude in the ecosystem, and even his podcast has changed at this point. So, kind of repeating myself here, but my main point is, I hope everything works out for everybody, but I just don't think the whole influencer thing is sustainable, and I haven't thought it for a while. And you look at, I'll pick on them, the fighter and the kid. If you're listening out there, you can comment. Do any of you want to be a 60-year-old middling comedian on a failing podcast? Because all of these podcasts are failing. Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. If you go back 2020, 2021, and remember, all of these influencers were saying they're going to build. I remember the Daily Wire came out with, they have Jordan Peterson, and we're like, we're going to build a media empire. And I'm like, are you? I don't think you are. I think the entire entertainment scene is going to atomization. Everybody just small groups. I think that a lot of newer YouTubers that make it will not be as big as a lot of the YouTubers are now. Just because, again, everything gets buried in the AI slop is really going to start annihilating the algorithm in the next couple of years. It's going to get bad. A lot of people are going to start AI channels and just nobody's going to know what to watch. So, again, what do I know? I can't predict the future, but that's the way I see it. I think you're right about luck. Some of the biggest success were because I was simply at the right place at the right time. Yeah, right? Jenna Marbles. Does anybody remember her? She started out, she's a pretty girl, starts out making YouTube videos, becomes really big, and then really doesn't do anything. Her channel's basically gone because apparently she said some things or did some things in a time where that was permissible. And now that everybody is on political correctness like steroids. Again, a lot of these people that are big on YouTube were big. They started doing videos in 2011, right? There's your luck. They do. I'm not going to sit there and deny that. But then again, I would go, if you really think that that's the case, why do the Paul brothers have such a large YouTube audience? That's what's going on, Peter. But yeah, so again, it is what it is, man. I don't think being an influencer is a viable path forward. Anyways, let's talk about some things. What do you guys think of the madness in Minneapolis? Jesus Christ. This is an army of fucking Karens, right? Let's look at some of this. Minneapolis. I'm putting it. I don't know why this came up, but protests. All right, we're going to hit it. All right, yeah, all right. We're going to react to this video a little bit. This is just madness, dude. You have, I'm going to tell you my opinion before we even get into this video. A lot of these liberal white, this whole thing is fascinating because you can see the two narratives colliding, okay? So, if you, I was watching this video, right, before we play this video and react to it. I was watching this video, and it was this guy running into a church yelling at Christians to not fight ISIS, that they're not fighting the ICE agents, right? And there's so much bad information out there where people are going, they're not actually law enforcement. And I'm like, no, they're actually federal law enforcement. You can argue about that all day long, but you're wrong. Okay? They have arrest powers. So if you commit a crime in front of an ICE agent, he can detain you right there. He's supposed to turn you over to the local cops, but that is what it is. But this, like, it's the two narratives, man. It's fascinating. There was a guy, he goes into a church, he's screaming about them not protecting their Somali brothers. And I'm like, that if somebody came up to me and they were like, why aren't you defending your Somali brothers from ICE? I would literally look at him and go, I have no idea why you're saying they're my brothers. Well, no, they're your family. No, they're not. My family is a small group of people. Like, this is what it is, man. When people argue, I thought, not the naivety in me. We're going to use finance for example, okay? I thought if I came on YouTube and I did my YouTube channel, I could offer people a better way than what people like Jeremy Lefebvre, Meat Grinder, all of those guys were doing. I'm like, listen, look, these guys are buying overvalued shit. When the bubble's going to burst, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that, right? I'm not psychic. But I thought if I came along and I was like, nah, dude, look at this, this, and this. And also, just remember, index funds are better. Index funds are for retirement. Stocks are for fun. And I just explained that there was a process that people would listen to me. And basically, man, I was just confused by the whole thing. So, like, I'm a dumbass for questioning Meat Kevin. And all of these could have been paid people who go around and defend these people. What I realized over time is what's happening in America, Democrat and Republican. There are two worldviews that are colliding. And each side is arguing from their worldview. So let me give you an example of this, right? I'm going to make no legal claim here. All I'm doing is telling you how I feel about abortion. My opinion is abortion is murder. Now, the legality of it, I leave that to other people because this is what I recognize. If I'm talking to a Democrat or a liberal or whatever, because everybody's obsessed with labeling everything so they can understand it, they're going to look back at me and go, well, Jay, the way you're not looking at this correctly. Here's the correct way to look at it. Is that these are just cells. And I go, okay, great. You're not a biologist and I'm not a biologist. So I'm not going to fucking sit here and let you impose that frame on me, right? What I said to them doesn't exist in their worldview, and what they're saying back to me doesn't exist in my worldview. Here's another example. This is probably the most glaring one. When I'm talking to a progressive or a liberal about guns and my views on the Second Amendment, right? Something that comes up is when we're talking about semi-automatic rifles, they want to make a case to me and they go, well, you know, you think that that people should be able to own fully automatic weapons. Yes, I do. That's actually my worldview, right? But what I'm recognizing is that is a lost cause. It's the same thing with the war on drugs. No matter how much I tell these people, it is a money laundering operation. It is unconstitutional. And then they agree with me. They will still argue that drugs shouldn't be legalized over a hypothetical. Again, two worldviews are butting up against each other. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's confusing. I'm kind of jumping around. But we'll go back to the machine gun argument. The progressives will look at me and go, you're crazy. And I go, but I'm not. Here's why. Does the ruling class's bodyguards, do they have access to fully automatic weapons? They do. So I'll argue the ruling class should not have access to any weapon that the plebes don't have access to. Plus, these people from their worldview view it as wrong for me to have a machine gun, a fully automatic weapon. I do not view that as a problem. And this is where our worldviews collide into each other and break. They want to go, so why don't you explain to me? No, I'm not going to explain my opinion to you. My opinion is my opinion. If you're going to try and argue with me about it, I'm going to tell you to F off. But that's, if I'm making myself clear, I don't know if I'm articulating myself properly. But what I'm saying is, it's two worldviews talking past each other. One side sees it this way, the other side sees it this way, and then they argue from their narrative, and they don't understand why the other person isn't going along with them. It's because, for example, in my world, gun control doesn't exist. And you can get mad about it, but I'm not going to change my opinion because an opinion is an opinion. Okay? That's what's going on here. But this is just madness, what is going on up there.
Right now, but we'll keep you in mind.
You'll keep me in mind.
It's a good day for a...
Now, I do want to get you right back into some of the big headlines that we are covering here as President Trump's administration is preparing 1,500 troops for potential deployment over to Minnesota amid the protests and unrest following this month's shooting death of Renee Good by an ICE officer there in Minneapolis. A senior U.S. official confirming the information to Fox News Digital, saying the U.S. Army's 11th Airborne Division, based in Alaska, has been given orders to prepare for deployment. That division, by the way, specializes in cold weather and mountain warfare. The Washington Post first to report all of this. President Trump threatened just days ago to invoke the Insurrection Act, allowing for the deployment of U.S. military forces to Minnesota if state officials do not crack down on the anti-ICE agitators. There is a lot to discuss, as always, on this topic, so I do want to bring in a friend of the show right here. We do have Jeff Weninger, retired LAPD lieutenant, law enforcement expert, founder, and CEO of Law Enforcement Consultants. Now, he's also the author of On Thin Ice, an LAPD veteran's journey to reimagine policing. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jeff, to be here with us today.
If you have ED,
Holy
you
shit.
might need to work on your mental.
And this is another thing
When you're
that's
aroused,
killing
your brain releases
YouTube.
dopamine.
No, thank you for having me.
Of course. And first off, I did kind of want to ask you about the Insurrection Act itself and how that could potentially be invoked in this case specifically. What authority does President Trump or any president have to do that?
Well, I think before we begin to speak about the Insurrection Act, it's important that we understand what the premise in the United States generally is under normal circumstances. And it's under the Patsy Comitatus Act, wherein it is prohibited that we use military personnel for any type of activity in regards to domestic law enforcement activity. Now, there is an exception to that, where President Trump has nearly a unfiltered ability and authority to implement a circumstance where he would deploy military resources into this type of a circumstance. But it's very narrowly defined. And there's three circumstances where that would be appropriate. And it's appropriate if you have significant civil disturbance, you have an insurrection or rebellion. And now it doesn't mean that these can't go unchallenged. They can be challenged in court. In this circumstance, I'm certain that the state officials in Minnesota would be filing suit in court to determine the appropriateness of this. You could also just have the courts intervene at a federal level without a lawsuit necessarily being filed. And really what they would be looking at is, do we really have the circumstances where the criteria of one of those...
Remember too, the people on the left that are out there doing this, these are the same people that were screaming about the Capitol riots. And, look, Capitol riots never should have happened. But the Capitol riots, there were something like 220 or 230 agent provocateurs in the crowd. And yeah, this is all they have screamed about for 5 years because it's basically the only thing that they have. But why are you going to these protests? Whether you're right wing, even if you're right wing, why are you going there? I don't get it. The people that are on the side of Antifa, there are a lot of paid Antifa people. There's a lot of paid Antifa people out there. They recruit, right? And you're going to go protest for them basically as a useful idiot. And the only real people that are out there, it's liberal white women, effeminate guys, and then some of the people that are paid are probably pretty tough. But I asked this question. Let's say you're a right-wing guy, and you're sitting there and you're going, I'm sick of these effing protests. I'm going to go out there with my American flag and I'm going to flick them off. Okay. Well, you're risking getting involved in a riot. You're risking the cops are out there trying to get everything under control. Mistaken identity. You get arrested. You get in a fight with somebody. You get arrested. The cops try to gain control of the crowd. They chuck tear gas in there. I don't know. You get unlucky and you lose an eye. Was it worth it? This is what I don't understand. Why are you going out there and fighting with these morons? You have this woman. Again, it's the two world views. I'll tell you exactly what I think about Renee Good. I think Renee Good is a fucking moron. Okay? Here's what I think of St. Floyd. George Floyd. This is the guy that was high on crack that put a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. Okay? He ODs on fentanyl. Derek Chauvin becomes a national sacrifice, because that's what that was. Okay? And now, 5 years later, people are bringing up with George Floyd with me. Hey, isn't it tragic what happened to George Floyd? No, it's not. It was actually predictable. He was doing drugs and passing fake money. Now, I don't agree with the drug war, but I'm still going to look at you and go, the government doesn't agree with me. Okay, they're going to carry out those laws. So he's chewing a speedball. He's on the ground. He dies from a cocaine and fentanyl overdose or whatever opiate was in there. Derek Chauvin's there. And he's basically a national sacrifice on the altar of America's original sin, racism. You know, and then you come to me with this Renee Good woman, and you go, oh, she was a poet. What? What? Only the ruling class would go, oh, she was a poet, so that's good. I'm just going to look at you and go, so she has no discernible skills. No, Jay, what you're not understanding. She's going to write you a poem. I don't give a fuck about her poem. What skills does she have? None. You know, and you're going to fuck around with federal law enforcement while they're already on edge because they're getting flicked off. People are throwing whatever frozen dildos at the cops. You know, whatever they're doing. And you're going to go there and you're going to drive the car in the direction of the cop. Now, you have all these armchair use of force experts out there. And I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Not that I trust the government, because I don't. I'm always on here saying, I don't understand why any of you trust the government. But you're putting me in a position that's quite frankly pissing me off, and that's defending the federal government. Okay? I'm going to wait before I cast judgment to see what charges were brought against the copper work. And it turns out they didn't bring any charges. Now again, you got the use of force experts that started 5 minutes ago. The pseudo-intellectualism of the internet runs rampant. Well, no, you know, I'm a use of force expert now. Okay, but do you have all available footage? Do you have the police reports from what happened? Okay, well, shut the fuck up until we get those. It's the same thing I said about Charlie Kirk. I go, I'm not making any judgment calls till I see all of the evidence. I still have a lot of questions, right? I don't believe the narrative. I don't believe we have an accurate understanding or the official story or narrative is accurate to what happened to Charlie Kirk. But I'm not making videos about it every day. See what I'm saying? It's all fucking narcissistic attention and bullshit. Yeah. Let's go out there and let's protect a bunch of criminals. And what these Antifa morons are not smart enough to understand is it's the corporations and dark money that wants the illegal immigrants here. It is the ruling class that wants this cheap imported labor. Somebody is benefiting from the Somali fraud in Minnesota. Somebody's benefiting from it. Somebody powerful is benefiting from that. Who? I don't know. Probably a lot of the political class over there. You know, you don't think that I understand that that federal money comes in and then they kick it to the politicians through donations. And you know, like Tim Walz, I don't know that Tim Walz was anything other than he came into office and it was explained to him this is how things work. Because I personally think Tim Walz is too fucking dumb to scheme. I really do. I really think that, number one, the Somalis that we imported here from a country with an average IQ of 68 are not smart enough to figure out how to game the entire system. I think somebody taught them how to do it. Antifa here in Minneapolis. I think there's Alex Soros money funding it, and I could probably look into it and find it if I wanted to. Somebody's benefiting. But again, I don't understand why you, as the average guy or girl, wants to go out there and get into altercations about shit you really don't fucking care about. You know, I'm in the sauna earlier this week, and I'm still all jacked up from getting whatever they shoved up my butt to get the colonoscopy done, and the anesthesia still in my body, right? I'm sitting there, and this guy I know goes, "Hey, did you see Trump flick off that auto worker?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What'd you think?" And I go, "I don't know, man. I don't want to do this right now." And the guy goes, "No, I really want to know what you think." And I go, "Fine. I don't feel like arguing. I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion is I don't give a shit. I don't give any fucks that Donald Trump flicked off a guy that called him a pedo protector, which I think is pretty funny. I think both the insult and the response is hilarious. I think it's hilarious that Trump swears. Sorry, I do. Now, the ruling class is going to tell me, "Oh, that's so boorish." And I'm going to look at them. From their worldview, it makes sense. From my worldview, my response makes sense too. I really don't give a fuck whether you like my attitude or not. That's my response. I don't fucking care. I'm not answering to you. You're not a tribal elder that I explain myself to. But I'm sitting there in the sky, and I knew it was going to come. He's like, "You don't care?" And I go, "No, you don't care either. You're just sitting in here doing this performative thing." How many hours out of the day did you spend caring about Donald Trump flicking off an auto worker? I spent no time on it. I went, "Yeah, that's funny," laughed, and went about my day. I wasn't walking around sulking, having to do an emergency beat-off session to relieve some stress. I wasn't sitting there going, and then it's going to go into the bathroom and tug one out into the toilet because, Donald Trump flicked off some dude I don't know. Then this guy goes, "What about the office? Do you think that's becoming of the president?" And I go, "I don't give a shit at this point." And he's like, "What?" I go, "I don't give any fucks about the nobility of the office of president." I looked at him and I said, "Did George Bush launch a disastrous occupation of Iraq?" He did? Okay. Did Barack Obama bomb Libya into a third world shit? Well, it already was. Well, it really wasn't. Did Barack Obama bomb Libya into a failed state holding ISIS slave auctions? Oh, he did? Okay. Did Barack Obama and the deep state create ISIS under an operation called Timber Sycamore? He did? Well, okay, so what are you talking about? Donald Trump flicking off a guy is unbecoming of a president. It's actually amazing to me. Like the hypocrisy from everybody. Because, don't get me wrong, when you get a Democrat back in office, there's going to be a bunch of conservative pundits going, "I can't believe what this Democrat did. It's so unbecoming of the office of the president." There was an entire controversy with Barack Obama where he wore a tan suit. And people were saying to me, "Can you believe that Barack Obama wore a tan suit?" And I'm like, I don't understand. They're like, "No, Jay, he wore a tan suit." And I'm going, "Okay, but what's the problem?" They're like, "Well, that tan suit wasn't becoming of the president." I go, said who? Why is this something you think I should care about? Oh, well, what do you thinking of? What do you think about doing in Greenland? Trump trying to take it over. Good. That's what I think about it. Russia is going to dominate the Arctic. We need a base. We need a platform to put our bases on. Okay? Well, but he kidnapped Maduro. Fuck Maduro. I don't care about Maduro. There's a whole thing in this country with other people telling you what you're supposed to care about. And that's what leads to these moronic, affluent, whatever the term is, these awful liberal women. These women are the bane of society. Okay? They're emotional. They're all on antidepressants. They only have cats. They've done nothing interesting with their lives. And they want to lecture you about what you're supposed to care about. And again, when I was talking to this guy, I said, hey, bro, let me ask you a question. You're getting kind of offended a little bit. And I even brought up climate change. I said, do you believe in climate change? And he said, yes. I go, great, I don't. And I don't give a fuck about it. And he's like, what? It was like I was attacking his religion. The guy sits there and he goes, what do you mean you don't think climate change is real and you don't care about it, even if it is? So I look at him and I go, what percentage of your day is spent caring about this shit? And he goes, well, he couldn't really give me an answer. And I go, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think while you're getting mad about what Donald Trump is doing, flicking a guy off, Greenland, Venezuela, do you think you can stop it? And this, of course, is the liberal worldview. You need to use your voice. Use my voice for what? I don't agree with you. What are you not getting? Okay. Back to what I was saying about this. What percentage of my day is supposed to be devoted to self-flagellating over Renee Good's stupid decision to go into an environment where the cops are on high alert because they're getting attacked and even drive a vehicle in the direction of an ICE officer? Whether you think he shouldn't have or shouldn't have shot this woman, the result is still the same. She died for no reason. She put the officer's life in jeopardy. She put herself in jeopardy. And I think it was her or somebody else even said, why do you have live bullets? Oh, you seem to think this is a game. It's not. And again, I go back to it. What percentage of my day should I devote to climate change? I work 8 hours a day. So getting ready for work, driving, all of that shit is about 11 hours out of my day. It's a minimum of 10. It's probably closer to 11. So that means when I wake up in the morning, I get my coffee. Then I go to the gym. Okay? That takes an hour. There's 12 hours out of my day. Then I make food and I eat. And then I'm relaxing and stretching and I go to work. That's another hour to 2 hours. So now we're up to 13, 14 hours a day. And I have to sleep. So again, I go back to it. I will ask my devoted and lovely fans, people in the comment section, what percentage of my day is supposed to be spent caring about shit I don't care about? I have things that I want to care about and learn about. Number one, saltwater crocodile attacks. Saltwater crocodiles are an amazing hunter, and they eat people all the time. Okay? So we got animal attacks in there. I'm fascinated by that. Listening to theoretical physicists and physicists tell me how the universe works. That takes up part of my day. Okay, the stock market takes up a substantial part of my day. I might want to read a book that isn't about the stock market. That's more time. So again, I go back to it. When Renee Good or Rob Reiner or insert famous person passes, how much time out of my day am I supposed to spend caring about said issue and arguing with other people about it? This is what I just don't get. Because I asked the question. You think your time would be better spent, I don't know, starting a shitty YouTube channel that nobody watches, or, I don't know, trying to get laid, or, I don't know, learning a new skill, or hanging out with friends and family, taking your dog for a walk, whatever it is. Whatever it is you want to do. Watch football. What percentage of my day is supposed to be spent caring about shit I can't change and I don't really care about it? And am I supposed to go around in public now going, yeah, Renee Good, she passed. It's an absolute tragedy. Is that what you want? You want me to tell you that I think that's a tragedy? You want me to tell you that I think George Floyd was a tragedy? You want me to tell you that I care about climate change? I don't know. Do you guys actually care? Because I don't fucking care. I'm supposed to sit here and pretend this shit is important to me now too on top of it. And imagine I have it really good. I work 8 hours a day and I only work 40 hours a week. Okay? Now imagine a guy works 60 hours a week. And he's got 2 kids and a wife. And then whatever ruling class or leisure class or managerial class person that works in an office wants to come around. And they want to tell him, hey, did you hear about Renee Good? Isn't that a tragedy? And then they get upset when they go, who's Renee Good? The woman that was shot in Minneapolis. Okay, but why is it a tragedy? She was shot by ICE agents. Okay, but she probably had to do something. No. She went to a protest hosted by Antifa as a useful idiot, and Antifa was funded by billionaires, so these protests are funded by billionaires, okay? And she drove a car at a cop. Dude's going to look at you and go, what do you want me to say to you? What is it that you want me to do here? I got to work 60 hours a week, take my kids to baseball and karate lessons, bang my wife, eat her ass, and whatever, make dinner. So how much time am I supposed to sit here fucking self-flagellating over this? All right, let's do these comments and we'll move on. I knew Minneapolis was a cesspool for a long time, but it's gotten so much worse. Bro, the mind virus has taken over everywhere. I mean, that's really, when you look at all, DEI and woke and all that really is just political correctness. Come back around. It's strange. Political correctness started to get really big in the 90s. Okay? Almost like the ruling class wanted us divided. Okay? And really, this is what it said. This is how we expect you to talk to people. Okay, well, I got an alternate hypothesis on that. I like this hypothesis. I'll say whatever I want, and if you don't like it, you're free to go fucking talk to somebody else. Does that sound good? Because I'm not going to be told by some asshole in an office how I need to talk to people when I'm out of work, right? So they introduced this mind virus after the great financial crisis. Barack Obama was brought in, as this guy that was completely different than George Bush to save the big banks. They screwed over the American populace. Some of the people that got kicked out of their homes, I'm going to look at you and go, bro, you worked at McDonald's and you tried to buy an $800,000 house that you were going to flip. But yeah, it just got worse and it accelerated. Like, I don't understand why anybody would stay there. I would move out of that city in a heartbeat. I don't like living in cities. Even though I'm in the city of Clearwater, I don't like it. I don't understand who wants to be up there. I don't understand why these people are telling me they're cool. I just don't get it. 81% in Minnesota receive government assistance. We let them in, pay them to live here, and they cause crime and chaos. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that statement. I don't really have anything to add to it either. If you're going to come here, right, we need the illegals because we need the labor. Okay. Well, that means then, your client class isn't on the government dole. No worries, babe. I don't know why I said that. No worries, mate. That's what I meant to say. But, yeah, it's your time, man. What's going on, Gil? Trump is reminding. Yeah, and they don't like it. The Obama even complained about the European Union not wanting to spend money on the military. He didn't know what to do about it. Again, I don't think Barack Obama or George Bush are the worst human beings that ever existed. I think the problem is people like a neat little saying about things. They don't really like to think about issues, right? So you come out of World War II and nobody understands how that happened because they don't want to sit around and think about it. I'm not saying the Holocaust was justified. But what Hitler did makes sense from Hitler's worldview. Doesn't mean I agree with it. Because everybody's like, oh, he's defending Hitler now. Hitler was a piece of shit, okay? But everything he did, everything Stalin did, everything Mao Zedong did was logical from their worldview, whether you agree with it or not, okay? Now, I'm not going to sit here and play German historian or World War II expert, but Germany had crushing sanctions put on them after World War I. Hitler comes along and goes, yo, fuck these guys. We're not paying them shit. Rebuilds the military and then goes on a rampage. All right. George Bush. Personally, I don't think he ran any of the shit in Iraq. I'm just not going to be lectured. I'm not going to be lectured about Ukraine by Barack Obama or George Bush. That's my main source of contention with both of them. Coming out like, we need to support the Ukraine. Go fuck yourself, okay? So, yeah, they don't like the fact that Trump is just telling them how it is. And that's, it is what it is. Europeans think they're better than us. I'm not going to say everyone does, but a lot of them do. They have their socialized healthcare system. They don't understand that America pays for that. They have all these societal programs to inject more government into your life, and you wonder how you get communism. If America stopped freeloading Europe tomorrow, their systems would collapse overnight. And that is all the mismanagement of the ruling class elite. If I was president, I wouldn't, but, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. I mean, it is your opinion. Dude, I'm done with it. This is a safe zone. You say whatever you want as long as it's not going to get my channel kicked off of YouTube. So if you think that you would find Renee Goodman, if that was her name, I thought it was good, but if it's Goodman, whatever. I don't really care that much. But if you think you'd find her annoying, that's fine. I don't think I would like that woman one bit. Doesn't mean I'm not saying what happened to this woman is good. What I'm saying is you're going out there and you're LARPing revolutionary. Okay? If you believe what you believe, why are you... I don't really understand why you believe what you believe, but if they could sit down and talk to me, I would listen to them. But what I would tell them is, what you're doing is extremely unwise, at a minimum. This is how you get yourself hurt. Well, you just don't understand and you don't want to take the risk. Now, I just don't agree with you. That's why I'm not out there. Okay? I don't agree that this is some Hitlerian plot. You entered the country illegally. This is a crime. I'm not going to argue about it with anybody. You can look up whatever the section is, but it's a crime. Okay. The vast majority of the people, from the way I understand it, have criminal warrants. You're not going to make an argument to me and shame me and go, well, you need to be out there. Again, I don't agree with your worldview. And I don't agree that the cop did anything wrong. So, it is what it is. We'll just have to agree to disagree. Maybe he did, brother. But, again, this doesn't bring Renee Goodman back. She made a very stupid decision. And whether you agree with, and I'm going to wait till all facts are in anyways, as I do with like Timothy Busfeld, Melissa Gilbert's husband, another actor in Hollywood, just got charged with child molestation. My opinion on it is this. I think Timothy Busfeld is a creep. I think there is a lot of veracity in the claims that this dude was a kid toucher. But I'm not going to sit here and call him a kid toucher till he's convicted. And again, I don't like this dude. I don't like his wife. I don't like him. From what I see of them. But they seem to have TDS, blah, blah, blah. But again, I'm not going to cast judgment on him. I don't have the facts. So I'll wait till the guy goes through the legal process. And maybe I agree or I don't agree with the verdict, but it is what it is in the end. And okay, the ICE agent made a mistake, but is Renee Good still here from her dumb decision? Because you can't really argue with me that she didn't make a stupid decision. She could have stopped the car right there so there's no confusion. Cops giving you an order within your vehicle. If you don't understand it, stop. Just say, what is it that you want me to do? Or whatever. Okay? It is what it is, man. No. Yeah, no, bro, I agree. And you're entitled to your opinions. You and I will just have to disagree on this one. I don't have enough evidence or the time to really, or even really care about this case to go that far into it. What I'm saying is, I'm just going to let the facts come out and I'll make my decision at another time. But I just don't see it that way. J-Noggy, that moron. Well, he gave her an order, right? I don't think he should have got in front of the car, but he's a federal law enforcement agent. And whether you like their orders or not, it is what it is. At the end of the day, dude. I mean, really? Is it really? That's not surprising, dude. Censorship's going to get worse. Censorship is going to get way worse because Israel is losing support. Now, I don't have a problem with Israel, and I'm not educated enough about what's going on in Palestine. So I'm not really willing to die on a hill. I'll talk to people about it, but I don't really understand it. And that's why I ask people. I asked a dude who had been over in the Middle East. I said, bro, I don't know anything about this. Is this a genocide? And he seemed like a good Christian guy. And he said, I believe that it is. I go, okay. I can accept that. I don't know enough to push back on you. Right? You know, so again, you have we went over it last week. You have all these people that want censorship because they can't control the framing, the narrative. That's what it all is. This is the narrative we want you to go with. And I don't know if it was worse under Biden or not, but again, I don't justify the guy deleting her over no matter how I look at it. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I wasn't in that situation. I can't say I would have reacted better or worse or the same. You know, it's tough, dude. We all want this neat little story of good guys and bad guys. Again, I don't think Renee Good was a bad human being. I just think she made a stupid mistake. It's the same thing with Ashley Babbitt, right? My personal opinion on that was that cop was not justified in shooting her. But the legal opinion was he was. So these are two separate things we keep conflating. My opinion of events and what's legal, okay? So if I was sitting there and somebody asked me about Ashley Babbitt, I would be saying I'm saying the exact same thing about Ashley Babbitt that I'm saying about Renee Goodman or Good. Let me fucking get the name right. It looks like it's Renee Good, not Goodman. But again, if I was to compare it to something, Ashley Babbitt, shouldn't everybody regardless of whether there were agent provocateurs at the time in the audience, in the crowd, okay? It still doesn't justify you breaking into the Capitol and damaging property. That's what I would tell. I think the sentences that these January 6th people got were ridiculous for the crimes committed. That was a power play. That was a waste of government resources, whatever. With the whole Ashley Babbitt thing, again, I don't think the cop was justified, in my personal opinion. Now, legally, that's a separate thing. But I would say this, Ashley Babbitt made a stupid mistake that day. She made the stupid mistake of joining in an unruly mob as it was attacking the Capitol. Now, the cop sitting across from her that I said I don't believe was justified, but legally he was, he's probably scared shitless because there's a crowd of people. And if you think just because you have a gun, a bunch of people in a determined mob will get to you if they're willing to sacrifice some of their own lives. So this cop doesn't know what the other people's intentions are. He shoots her. She passes away. Okay. I'm just going to look at you and go, she shouldn't have been there. I'm not saying anything is justified, but I'm saying she made a stupid mistake, and that was the result of it. Same thing with Renee Good. That's my opinion on it. I'm not going to change it. That guy let his... Again, maybe, but I don't know if it was anger or fear. Fear and anger are close, but they're different. When you're angry, when you're fearful, that's when you're going to lash out the most. And you can say he's a cop, he had training, but at the end of the day, he's still a human being. Still a human being. So he gets scared and he fires on the girl. Yeah, personally, I think what should have happened to Renee Good is she should have been taken into custody and she should have been given a ticket, and warned, hey, you can't be out there doing this kind of crap. But again, my personal opinion means what? What does it mean? Nothing, really. Yeah, bro. I mean, again, I don't actually think it was murder. So, you think that, but I don't think it was murder. At a bare minimum, it could have been a bad shooting. But, again, the situation, I would not classify that as murder. Dan Blazarian had a good take on it. Here, I'll look at that really quick. Then I'm probably gonna call it a night. I think I'm gonna do a podcast tomorrow because it's Martin Luther King. Dan Blazarian on Renee Good. If I can find it. Yeah, I'm not finding it. I'm not finding it there. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to call that a live stream. I should be back tomorrow night. I think I'm going to do one because I'm taking the day off tomorrow for holiday. So I'll save some shit because I kind of spent too much time on this and I want to get into like some other stuff. So it is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank you all for watching, whether you watched a minute or the whole time. Appreciate your views, whether you liked it or not. I appreciate your comments. And if you don't watch tomorrow, I hope you have a great week and I'll see you next Sunday. So thanks for the views, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope you have a great night.